So I often get asked, how do I do it? How do I manage a 9-to-5 job while also having 3 separate companies with loads of different side hustles, managing a YouTube channel, and still somehow finding the opportunity to have a social life and even get involved in a musical theatre show or two in my spare time? So here are my top tips to help you manage your time better and more efficiently, and some of the principles and thinking that I use every single day to manage my time. And I've categorized these into 3 separate areas, which break down into motivation, management, and persistence. The motivation is the thing that keeps me going and working on these things every single day. The management makes it more efficient and productive when I am working on them, and the persistence is seeing it through to the long run to start seeing good and positive results. So firstly, motivation. Now, don't get me wrong, but motivation is, I think, one of the hardest parts. This is just about getting started. Whether you're looking to go to the gym, the hardest part is actually going. Once you're there, it's actually not so bad and you end up doing quite a bit of work, and that's where you start having the best sessions possible. It's the same for work motivation as well. What is it that gets you out of bed and makes you want to work on these projects? So the very first tip is that you are in control of your time. Now, this is quite a common scenario, for example, when you're meeting a friend. So imagine you're messaging a friend and they say that they're too busy. It's not because they're too busy, it's because they're not making time for you, and there's a big difference there. If you was important or the conversation was really, really urgent, then I'm sure that the friend would definitely make the time to come and see you because that priority has completely changed. And by understanding and recognizing this, you can start to target your own business ideas, your business ventures, and your side hustles, or whether that's property investing, to then think that's a priority, that's what I need to spend my time on doing. So it's not about that you haven't got enough time, it's that you're spending all of it on that side business. Secondly is have to versus get to. Now, this is about shifting your mindset and thinking. So for me, when I'm creating YouTube videos, sometimes after a long day at work, doing all of the property stuff, and then having to find the time to film a YouTube video. For example, I'm filming this at 10 p.m. at night on a Friday. It's finding that motivation, but rather than thinking, oh, I have to do this, instead reframe it to I get to do this. And instead, when you start to frame it that way, you become more grateful. I have over 20,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel and incredibly grateful for the growth over the past year. So actually, I'm in a great position where I get the opportunity to create videos and publish them to over 20,000 people on a regular basis. And just like that, I've changed it from a negative mindset to a positive mindset. And it was exactly the same when I was working in the world of property as well, doing loads of viewings for the first buy-to-let project. I was getting a little bit tired of constantly going to properties that just weren't worth my time or were being completely outbid. But instead of thinking that I have to do it, instead I reframe that to I get to do it. I have a good amount of money saved up, I've worked really hard, and I'm in a really privileged position to be able to do that. So that's how I reframed it. And thirdly is finding your passions. Now, when I was a lot younger, I used to create a lot of different websites and then put Google AdSense placements all over them, and I used to earn a few pennies, which at the time was absolutely incredible. But these websites were about completely random items, from standing desks to shower cubicles, because it was purely based on whatever Google paid the most for the ads. So finding what you're passionate about will help you push through and keep going, because if you're not interested in the thing that you're working on or talking about, then it's going to be really easy to get demotivated and not find that passion. And even when you're presenting, talking, building an audience, whatever it is, if you don't have the passion, then it's really easy to burn out. For me, it was really only when I started getting more into property investing that I decided to start my YouTube channel, build the website, and start really working on that property brand, as well as building the actual physical bricks and mortar property business, because it's something that I'm passionate about. I started to learn through podcasts, through books, through other YouTube channels, and really started to soak it all in. And I wanted to give back and build my own awesome community. And because I'm so passionate about it and practicing hopefully what I'm preaching every single day, then that really helps me stay motivated and ultimately keep my eye on the ball. So the middle section is all about management, and how do you start to manage your time once you're motivated and working on the actual thing. Now, I am the king of procrastination. Even when writing the script for this video, I watched about 10 different YouTube videos so that I could escape the actual script writing itself and do something else. I'm really bad for it. But the first major rule here is the 80-20 rule, otherwise known as the Pareto principle, one that I picked up from Tim Ferriss's 4-hour work week. Now, this is all about the principle that 80% of your results come from 20% of your input. Now, in a very productive and efficient business, if you can identify where that 80% of your results are coming from by spending the time on the 20%. That means that instead you can make your time way more efficient. For me on the YouTube videos, there are about 20% of the videos that generate 80% of the results. And unfortunately for me, I can't just decide which video is going to do well and which one isn't going to do well. But in a business, if you're building systems and processes versus going out there trying to find a property, making offers, it's actually going out there and making the offers and finding a property that is going to get you the results compared to tweaking a system or a deal analysis spreadsheet. Secondly is Parkinson's Law. Now this is all about that you fill the time that is allocated to do the specific task. So for example, let's say it's a Friday night and you know that you need to clean the house. And if you give yourself a deadline of Sunday night, you can guarantee that the house is going to get cleaned by Sunday night. However, if you time box that and say it's Friday afternoon now and I'm going to have this done by Friday evening, because you've given yourself less time, you'll therefore finish the task on that Friday night. It's very similar. We all probably did it at university as well when you have an essay deadline and you leave it until the very last night. That's exactly the same thing with Parkinson's Law. So by understanding as humans that we fill the time we have allocated, give yourself less time to do specific tasks and make sure you organize your day. That way you can be way more efficient. And lastly is a tool called Notion. Now, if you don't know what Notion is, it's an incredible tool that I actually built a property deal analyzer on. You can check out the link in the description, but it's an amazing tool that is a bit like Notepad versus a database tool versus spreadsheets versus Kanban boards. It's a mixture of everything together. And Notion has completely changed my life. I run my life admin on there. I run my businesses on there. I run my YouTube videos on there. There is a way to create any system or mini database on there, whether it's a CRM system, whether it's tracking a Kanban board for your production of videos. There is a way to do it, and Notion is really, really powerful and completely free. All right, so we've covered motivation and management. Now onto the last section, which is persistence. I've sort of touched on this with working on something you're passionate about, but seriously, if you master the art of persistence and stick around long enough, I guarantee you'll see some wins and successes. A lot of people give up too easily and just don't stick with it. Firstly is Atomic Habits. Now this is a fantastic book if you've not read it before, and it's written by James Clear. The whole crux of the book is about making sure that you're focusing on your systems and your processes rather than just setting a goal, because every Olympian wants the gold medal, every candidate wants the job, but it's not about the goal that sets us apart from others. It's about having a solid system in place. So for example, for me on YouTube, it's about having a pipeline of scripts and videos that can be ready to be edited, and that's how I keep on pushing content out on a weekly basis. But you start to see that those who struggle on YouTube are the ones who can't keep up that habit because it's unsustainable. So you have this mixture of building a sustainable habit that you live by every single week and just stick at it, but then there's also making 1% improvements. And James Clear talks about the Great Britain cycling team as they got closer towards the 2012 Olympics and how they made small 1% improvements every single time. And for example, in their van where they used to transport all of the bikes, they painted the inside of it white so that they could see any speck of dust, because the bikes are so high performance that dust can degrade and ruin the parts. So by having a white fan, they can see dust more easily. And it's a 1% improvement. It has nothing to do with the person actually cycling the bike, but it all really, really helps. It's the same for building a YouTube channel, building a business, whatever it is. By improving and making things better 1% every single time, you can really start to enjoy the compounding growth. Secondly is Show Your Work by Austin Kleon, another fantastic book which teaches us to be amateurs in public. A lot of us are afraid to put ourselves out there, and I had this exact same fear when I started my YouTube channel, but I was worried I was going to be called an imposter or that I might be a guru or anything like that. But instead, actually, there is a benefit in amateurs showing other amateurs, or beginners showing other beginners their experience. And it's all about whatever you learn, whatever you find out, by sharing value and helping give value to other people, that it's still a really good thing. So for me, I'm learning in public, I'm becoming a property investor in public, I'm building a channel and an audience around that and sharing all of the things that I learn along the way. This also creates a feedback loop as well, because then the audience hold me accountable to make sure that I'm looking at the next project and pushing my numbers to be even better and building better products and tools for people to use on my website as well. Amateurs know that sharing something is better than sharing nothing, but by building an audience, you can really start to build a community of like-minded people. Lastly is the wave of compounding. Now, if you've heard of Warren Buffett, you'll know that he is a very, very wealthy man, but a lot of his wealth was generated purely from spending time in the market. It wasn't really about making incredible investment decisions. Albert Einstein once said that compounding is the eighth wonder of the world, and what typically happens is a very common curve. Compound growth starts off very, very small, and then over time it starts to increase and increase, and then all of a sudden you can really start to see the compounding where it then completely shoots up. And this is where a lot of investors make their money, it's where businesses grow, it's where YouTube channels get loads of subscribers. It takes a long, long time, and by staying in it is going to ensure that you enjoy that compounding curve and don't give up in the early days when it looks really, really slow progress. If you enjoyed this video, then check out this one here, which is my 3 favorite books that inspired me to make over $12,000 in 1 month. So feel free to click on this, and I will see you in the next video.